Good morning. I'm Brad DeLong, and this is my morning coffee. I'm here to sound the alarm. You see, stage one of a financial crisis involves a financial market that could be in a good equilibrium, with lots of capital committed to sane and sound financial intermediaries, with a healthy flow of finance from savers to businesses, with relatively high asset prices and relatively low unemployment. Or the market could be in a bad equilibrium, with financial intermediaries near bankrupt or worse and untrusted, with little flow of finance from savers to businesses, with relatively low asset prices and relatively high unemployment. It is the task of a central bank to A, diminish the chances that we will ever get into a stage one financial crisis, and to diminish those chances by properly regulating, by providing incentives that motivate, by punishing those who over-leverage their businesses or who induce moral hazard, and B, to keep us at the good equilibrium if a financial crisis comes, to keep us at the good equilibrium by providing liquidity. Even if provision of liquidity goes against the requirement that over-leverage and moral hazard be punished, not rewarded, in normal times. As long as we are in stage one, a good central bank will provide liquidity, will lend cash at a penalty rate, will charge banks a lot for the money it lends to them in order to diminish and punish moral hazard. Stage two of a financial crisis, it sees a financial market in which the potential good equilibrium has disappeared, in which more is needed than simply cash and confidence, but in which the good equilibrium can be brought back into existence by not just providing liquidity to the system, but by flooding the system with liquidity, with cash, by pushing safe interest rates way, way down, and so pushing asset prices up. By pushing asset prices up, you reliquefy the system, you gain confidence, and the idea that a good central bank should only lend cash at a penalty rate goes out the window in a stage two crisis. The stakes are too high. As Don Cohn said, it is not good to hold the jobs of tens of millions hostage in order to make sure a few feckless financiers get their just desserts. Now, stage three of a financial crisis comes when the central bank runs out of ammunition, when pushing interest rates to the floor and swapping out all of its assets does not restore the good equilibrium, does not push demand up to so that everyone's willing to hold the supply of risky assets. Then you face a threefold choice: depression, inflation, or public intervention. Depression is to be avoided. Inflation, resolving the financial crisis by printing enough cash to boost the price level far enough that all of a sudden everyone's incomes and real asset values are high enough to pay off their nominal debts. Inflation is generally best avoided too. As John Maynard Keynes wrote back more than 80 years ago in his tract on monetary reform, quote, "The individualistic capitalism of today, precisely because it entrusts saving to the individual investor and production to the individual employer, this individualistic capitalism presumes a stable measuring rod of value and cannot be efficient, perhaps cannot survive, without one." Unquote. So if depression is unthinkable and inflation is best avoided, this leaves public action. If the good equilibrium has vanished, as it looks like it has, because the supply of risky assets is too large for our financial intermediaries to want to hold them, given their capital, then the central government has to take action. To boost or to make financial intermediaries boost their own capital so that they will be able to demand more risky assets at high prices, and so close the gap between demand and supply that way, and to diminish the supply of risky assets offered on the financial markets by either A, guaranteeing some of these financial assets, hence making them less risky, or B, by buying some of them up themselves. It's time to start thinking. If we don't want to wind up in a deep depression or in a big inflation, it's time to recognize that the Federal Reserve might well run out of ammunition in dealing with this financial crisis and figure out what kind of government action we want to see and how we can set it in motion quickly if it becomes necessary. I'm Brad DeLong. I'm sounding the alarm, and this is my morning coffee.